Guys, I wasn't supposed to make this video, but a certain someone kept pestering me in the comment section that I discuss these three banners. So, ask and you shall receive, and now here's your video. You know who you are. Are these three Pokefair scouts, or rather these three triple Pokefair scouts, worth summoning on? So guys, right now you have three banners. You have the triple feature Pokefair Scout A, triple feature Pokefair Scout B, as well as C, running until May 8. May 9, they will be gone, and these feature 3 Pokefairs per banner. There is a non-paid route, the regular, scouts, regular gems, and there is a paid route, 25 sync pairs you can scout for in the paid route. Unfortunately, it's not a select scout. So, you get random sync pairs, but at the same time, you get a strike roll cake, a tech roll cake, and a support roll cake by summoning on the paid route. That's 5,000 paid gems and 25 random sync pairs on either this banner, this banner, this banner. But the regular banner does not give you any presents. It costs the regular amount. There's a daily discount, there's the single pulls, there's the multi-pulls. So these sync pairs have been around for quite a while. The difference is that they now have EX rules. Well, Palmer already has an EX role in the past, but most of the other sync pairs, these 8 sync pairs aside from Palmer, now get EX roles. And then those who have not yet received their 5 out of 5 update yet for the sync grid now have their 5 out of 5 grid update. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm gonna make a couple of assumptions. I'm gonna assume that you guys do not have any of these, these sync pairs yet, because if you're scouting and you have these sync pairs, if you're just scouting to make them a higher move level, well, I'm rather just you use a candy on them instead, or if you're summoning on the EX roll. I'm gonna quickly discuss about the EX roll. So these sync pairs, how Skyla, how is an electric type with a fairy type attack. Skyla is a flying type, and then Hilbert is, he's a bug type, but he can take the role of many other different types, now have a striker EX role. That means their sync moves can now hit everyone. These 3 sync pairs have the tech EX role. They are strikers. And now, aside from them hitting everyone, they can now hit 1.5 times stronger. Meanwhile, these sync pairs over here are a mix of tech and strikers, and they have the support EX role now. In fact, if I were to consider these 3, probably this banner will be my least priority, because support EX role, I would prioritize support EX role if the sync pair can mega evolve or transform into a different form. But in terms of sync pairs that do not change forms, I do not really care about the support EX role. I'd probably focus on using something else. But anyway, we're gonna quickly discuss each one, starting with how. So, another assumption that I'm gonna say is that you're gonna take note that multipliers, most of the multipliers you see are gonna be unlocked at 3 copies. 2 copies, 3 copies, sync move multipliers for 3 copies, attack move multipliers for 2 copies, some of them 3 copies. So this sync pair, Signasuit How, is an electric type that can lower the opponent's speed stat, that can raise everyone's speed stat, and then it's a very strong 1 move gauge wild electro web when it is active, when there's a weather, terrain, or field condition. So that's Signasuit How. And now Signasuit How can, hit everyone. His skill, Team Power Induction, powers up all your attacks when there's electric terrain. It brings in electric terrain at the beginning, extends that electric terrain, and then it can bring in Fairy Zone. And your sync move has a built-in multiplier, if I'm not mistaken. When the field is electric terrain, your sync move is gonna be more powerful. And you can bring in electric terrain every single time you use a sync move if you have him 3 out of 5, if I'm not mistaken, getting this power plant tile over here. And then some other multipliers over here, 3 copies. Again, I'm gonna assume that you just want one copy. So this sync pair is nice to have, but there are so many different electric types in the game right now. If you have Thunderbolt Red, if you have, Champion Blue, if you have any other electric types, and lots of electric types got powered up also, classic Alessa and stuff, probably Signa Hao not that much of my priority. In fact, I haven't used Signa Hao in a very long time. It's always either red or Thunderbolt Red rather than maybe Chase, Thunder, or rather Champion Blue, and another electric type, but Signa Hao, not really that much in my priority list. So this is for Signa Hao. Let's move on. Skyla, Anniversary Skyla, is and remains the one and only flying zone setter in the game right now. She's very good. She has Air Cutter Disarm 9, which can lower everyone's stats. Skills-wise, you have Staggering 2, which has a high chance, 30% chance of AoE flinching the opponent, 30% chance of AoE confusing the opponent, and you can raise the chance of flinching the opponent even more by getting Air Cutter Staggering 1 over here, and stuff like that. And now, with her expanded sync grid, well, that's 4 copies, 5 copies, she gets better. This sync pair is very nice. And basically, we don't exactly have a lot of very insanely strong flying types in the game. So, and now that Skyla has an EX role of Striker, she is extremely good. In fact, I kind of EX rolled my Anniversary Skyla already. She's very good. So in terms of comparing Signa Hao, Skyla definitely much better. In terms of Signa Hilbert over here, Signa Hilbert's attack, Technoblast, can take the role of Fire, Water, Electric, Ice, or Bug. So if you're lacking on any of those types, Fire, Water, Electric, Ice, or Bug, definitely useful. And not only that, but you also bring in, with your first Technoblast on any opponent, you can give a Fire, Electric, Water, Ice, and Bug type rebuff. And this does not apply just once to one opponent. You can hit every single opponent and give them that rebuff. And this is one of the strongest bug type nukers in the game. And the only reason I'm not using him that much is because he only hits one opponent. He's a texting pair. But now, with his EX role of Striker, he becomes extremely strong. And the thing that, makes him not so great, Brain Power, yes, is unlocked at 2 copies. That's a sync move multiplier. His other sync move multiplier is Cakewalk. And Cakewalk is unlocked at 5 copies. So that's kind of a shame for him. You need 5 copies in order to make him amazing. And at 5 copies, you also unlock another Hilbert's Aim, which is another rebuff for the opponent, making his moves and sync moves even stronger. So at 5 copies, he becomes really good. And in fact, his trainer move, Perfect Aim, also gives him a super effective up next effect. So he has a lot of multipliers. The thing is, he is, his best thing is locked at 5 copies. But again, if you just need a bug type or a fire type, an electric type, an ice type, or what else? Water type, you're lacking on any of those types, Signa Hilbert might be the way to go. And again, these 3 sync pairs now, Signa Hao, Anniversary Skyla, and Signa Hilbert, now have the Striker EX role, can hit everyone now. That is for banner letter A. So if you want to scout on triple feature Pokefair Scout A to get any of these sync pairs, remember that none of these banners, not the paid one, not the non-paid one, are select scouts. So it's still random. You're gonna take a risk, take a gamble, and see if you can get these banners. All have a 1.5% chance of getting the featured units. That's a combined 4.5% chance of getting of any of these featured sync pairs. And you have to assume and remember that next month, June, is a month of master fairs. So if you want to save your gems for the master fairs, then definitely think about it. Triple feature Pokefair Scout B features Volcanion. Very, very strong water type sync pair with fire type attacks. Can leave the opponent, burned. And his buddy move is very strong. You can only use this once, but very, very strong nonetheless. And aside from that, just get stronger with your sync move. And as for the sync move multiplier, you got Scorching Sync 9 if the enemy is bird, Scorching Sync 2, and then you can give yourself a super effective up next effect with Super Sync 9, which is unlocked at 5 copies. And a 1.5 times multiplier with your sync move if you unlock his EX roll. And I think, can you give yourself a super effective up next effect as well by using your buddy move? And stuff like that. It's very strong, very powerful, but water types, there are a lot of super strong water types in our game right now. So that's one thing that puts him down. Let's move on. Palmer is a very strong normal type sync pair. Gets really strong after you use, you can use Giga Impact after you use a move or any move for 5 times. But Crush Grip gets weaker and weaker the lower the opponent's HP becomes. You always get a physical boost up next, up 3 if you have a sync buff in your team already, if you have used your sync move at least once. But the biggest downside to Palmer is that no opponent is weak to normal type attacks, and you'll have to use him as an off type sync pair. So no opponent is weak to normal type attacks. That's the only thing that I can say about this sync pair. Aside from that, really strong overall, and he already has his AX roll for the longest time. He already has 5 out of 5 for the longest time. Let's move on. Now you have Blue and Aerodactyl with expanded sync grid as well, which Puma Tools has not yet been able to update this. Basically a very strong rock type sync pair with these multipliers. You have Critical Strike 1, you have Haymaker, and I think those are the only multipliers actually that he has. I checked the expanded sync grid. No new multipliers for the sync move. As for the skills, no sync move multiplier here as well. And for the built-in sync move multiplier, not really. So you only have Haymaker here. And you have some sync move update tiles. And you just got the 6-star, or rather EX roll update of Tech. So that just makes your sync move a little bit more powerful. As for rock types, yes, I guess there are not a lot of great rock types out there. So getting him powered up a little bit is a nice thing. But not exactly a lot of multipliers for this sync pair. So that is it. I think he gets Defense Crush 9, and that makes him... Was it Defense Crush 9? I think Emmet gets Defense Crush 9. As for this sync pair, totally forgot what he got. But not exactly a huge upgrade. Emmet, I think, might be a nicer thing, because this sync pair only hits like one opponent, Hyper Beam, Ancient Power, and after Mega Evolution, you got Double Edge, which only hits one opponent as well. And these moves are kind of expensive. Double Edge 3 move gauge, Hyper Beam 4 move gauges. But this sync pair can hit both physical and special attacks. So if you have an opponent that switches, physical special, some legendary arena opponents get, half of the HP is physical damage reduction, half of the HP is special damage reduction. Aerodactyl might be a good choice for that one. So that is triple feature Pokefair Scout B. These sync pairs are strikers, but now they get the Tech EX roll. So they will hit everyone with their sync move, and now they will hit 1.5 times harder. But Lysander should be the hardest hitter out of the bunch. But then there are a lot of water types that are really strong right now. Palmer is very strong again, but there are no opponents that are weak to Palmer, weak to normal types. And then blue, well, rock types are not exactly that great, and blue might be a nice choice to power up your rock types. Last but not the least, you got triple feature Pokefair Scout C. And as for this banner, well, Cygnus Giovanni and Emmet got their upgrades. Cygnus Dojo Glory already has her upgrade. These sync pairs get the EX role of support. And what this does is that it gets the double sync buff. And let's talk about them quickly. Cygnus-suit, or rather Dojo Gloria, gets the multipliers again at 3 copies. We have Hunter's Relentless. The lower the opponent's defense is, the stronger your sync move is gonna be. Double down 2 for the opponent if it's weak to water type. This sync pair can take 3 different attacks: water, steel, and fighting type. But the best thing is to use Surging Strikes. That will lower the opponent's speed stat. That will lower the opponent's defense stats because of Punishing Strike 9. And wait, no, never mind. It will lower the opponent's defense stat. And I think there's a Tripping Strike 9 over here, which will lower the opponent's speed stat every single time it hits. And Surging Strikes hits 3 times in a row. So every single attack of Surging Strikes, you lowered 3 defense stats of the opponent and 3 speed stats of the opponent. But you can also use the other attacks to lower, defense -1, speed -1, but the easiest way is Surging Strikes. But the same thing here. There are a lot of great water types right now. And, there are a lot of multipliers you have a built-in. The lower the opponent's defense is, the stronger your sync move is gonna be. And, yeah, in terms of water types, lots of good water types. Archie has just been given EX role of Tech as well. Not really the best, Archie. If I were to select a water type. Yucin is getting an EX role of Tech as well. Yucin is coming in a future date. And I would rather power up Yucin than power up Dojo Gloria. And in terms of, earlier we talked about Lysander. Cygnus-suit Lysander is also water type. And then a water type that is very strong that came out recently is Dahlia. Dahlia, very, very strong. And in terms of, this is a physical water type. Dahlia, special water type. I'd rather use Dahlia. But anyway, Cygnus-suit Giovanni and Nidoking are very strong, but very slow. All his attacks are 4 move gauge attacks. I think you now get a move gauge refresh 9, if I'm not mistaken. So every single time you attack an opponent, you get to restore 1 move gauge. I'm not sure. I think that's 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5. And then I think you get a first aid 6 when you're low on HP, recover a lot of HP. That aside, he gets the support EX role. I'd rather he get the Tech EX role here. I'm not sure why he gets the support EX role. But lots of multipliers. You have Haymaker, you have Super Sinker, you have Double Down. These apply to ground type attacks. And this is a Striker. That means no additional multipliers. But yeah, that's this. The user's moves never miss. And then your attacks are strong. At least you have 3 different types of attacks. So if you're leading a ground type, a steel type, a poison type attacker, this is the sync pair you're looking for. But again, very slow. Very slow sync pair. That speed stat is not high at all at 295. So if you want to use him, better have a speed buffer in your team. And then you cannot raise your crit stat. So there's a critical crit 9, which is unlocked at 3 copies over here. So if you get this every single time you land a crit, which will guarantee you a crit by using World of Pain over here. World of Pain applies the critical hit next to the user. You have to use World of Pain first, then you're guaranteed crits until the end of the battle unless the opponent has Vigilance or something like that. Otherwise, you cannot raise your own critical hit rate using Cygnus-suit Giovanni. Last but not the least, we have the last sync pair, Emmet and Archeops, who now gets a 5 out of 5 grid. I think this one gets the Defense Crush 9. So every single time you hit an opponent, Rock Slide will lower the opponent's defense. But let me very quickly check that I am saying the correct thing because I did not exactly check the expanded sync grids. So for Emmet gets right on track, hit and heal 9. You got Vigilance, you get Defense, Crush 9, and Flappable, Sync Damage Guard. And a lot of these sync pairs got Physical Boost up next for their sync grid, which I'm not exactly that much of a fan of. You know, it's just one use for the physical moves up next effect or special moves up next effect. This sync pair is a very strong rock type that gets even more powerful with Sandstorm. So, this is also a very slow sync pair. All his attacks are 4 move gauges. And with an EX roll of support, well, again, I'd rather have an EX roll of tech for this sync pair rather than a support. You have a multiplier Sandblaster 5, and is that the only multiplier that this gets? Sandblaster 5, in terms of this one, Sand Superiority is not exactly a sync move multiplier. I think that is the only sync move multiplier that this has. So this has a high chance of flinching the opponent. Not too bad chance of flinching the opponent. Where are the aggravation stats over here? Aggravation tile over here. So nice that you can also debuff the opponent. Again, rock types are not exactly that crazy. So let's filter and let's see what rock types we have right now in the game. Rock type strikers. Well, you have a very recent striker in the game, a very strong Champion Silver. Aside from Champion Silver, you have Diantha. You know, the other Diancie. So those are the remarkable rock types in the game. Aside from those sync pairs, not exactly crazy about the other sync pairs. So only this and these two, Signasuit Diantha, or is this Signasuit Diantha, as well as Champion Silver are the only two I can really say that are really good rock types. The others, not too much. But if I were to compare, guys, if I were to compare Classic Blue versus Emmet, I'd probably pick Emmet. The sad thing is, I hope Emmet got the Tech EX role and Champion Blue, or rather Classic Blue, got the Support EX role because Support, you know, Classic Blue has a Mega Evolution. And I want sync pairs that can Mega Evolve to get Support EX role or Sprint EX role. So that's a wasted opportunity. I'm not sure why they did that. But anyway, guys, that is triple feature Pokefair Scout A, B, and C. If I were to choose one, it's gonna be A. Because Skyla is amazing and remains the only Flying Zone setter in the game right now. And Hilbert, Signasuit Hilbert, can take the form of a lot of roles. Although, his sync move is gonna remain as a bug type. But then, he is like the strongest nuker for bug types. And he gets even more powerful now with the Strike EX role. As for Signasuit How, not exactly crazy about him because of all the electric types that we have in the game right now. This banner is okay. Tech EX roll for everyone. Fine, not too bad, but okay. Probably this is my choice number 2, and this might be choice number 3. Actually, I might choose triple feature Pokefair Scout A as my first choice. If I were to scout triple feature Pokefair Scout C as my second, because Emmet and Signasuit Giovanni can take a lot of different roles, and Dojo Gloria is still a nice water type. And then B is my last choice because Palmer has no, you know, opponents are not weak to Palmer. And there are lots of strong water types for Signasuit Lysander to shine. And Emmet is probably, I think, better than Blue. So, C is my second choice and B is my last choice. But if you were to scout, if I were to suggest, do you go for these banners, any of these banners? No, not really. Save your gems because Master Fair next month. But if you really have to scout, A might be the best one. And again, paid scout does not give you a select scout. You cannot select any sync pairs in this paid banner. You only get a cake, a strike roll cake, a tech roll cake, a support roll cake. That's the thing you get, and 25 random sync pairs. And with that, that is the end of this video. I tried to make this video as short as possible, and I hope you got something from this one. For the people who have been requesting this video for the longest time, I hope you got your answer. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up for me, as it really helps with the algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't, and let me know your thoughts. And if you're scouting on any of these banners, let me know. Personally, out of all these sync pairs, I only have Skyla 4 out of 5 and Giovanni 4 out of 5. The rest, I have 5 copies. And then I scouted on the paid route because I want a strike roll cake. So I was lucky enough to get Skyla. If you haven't seen my video, it's in my shorts. I got Skyla in my paid scout. As for this banner, I'm just gonna give a candy to Giovanni because they do not deserve. You know, I'm not exactly too crazy about the support roll cake. As for tech roll cake, there are a lot of other sync pairs that I want to give a tech roll cake to. Like Rose deserves a tech roll cake. And some other sync pairs might be good for tech roll cakes. But these sync pairs, I don't think so. But until then, that is the end of this video, guys. A huge shout out goes to all the members of my channel. I forgot to put the member page. Thank you guys so much for the support. If you want to help me out, join button down below or coffee.com/splgum to help me with my animal flow education this October. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Happy weekend, everyone. Rawr.